There was a large group of people who held a vigil tonight, remembering the lives lost in this morning's attacks. But it was also a celebration. 17's Alex Fisher was at tonight's vigil downtown and brings us the story. Alex.
There were vigils across the country tonight, including one here in Bakersfield. The vigil was somber, but it was also a night of fun.
We are Orlando.
The shots fired thousands of miles away are felt here in Bakersfield.
I want the family and friends in Orlando to know that we here in Bakersfield, California, have got their back.
The local LGBTQ community came together, still in shock of what happened.
An attack on one of us is an attack on everyone.
Remembering the victims who lost their lives in the Orlando attack.
We believe that it's not an attack on an LGBT specific group, it's an attack on America.
For many, the attack was too close to home.
There is a threat on our lives all the time.
A large crowd gathered at the Casablanca nightclub downtown, a place usually filled with music and dancing. But tonight, it was reserved for solidarity.
When we're hurt, we come together.
50 seconds of silence. 1 second for each life lost. In a dark room with the only bright light coming from a candle. But it wasn't long until the vibe changed. With dancing and laughter, a symbolic shift of standing back up and moving forward.
It's just going to make us want to live life to the fullest and enjoy life.
And organizers with the Bakersfield Gay and Lesbian Community Center say they are prepared to help people who need assistance locally and in Orlando. We're going to continue to follow this story and we'll bring you the latest. Local activist Whitney Waddell will talk more about the tragedy tomorrow morning on 17 News at sunrise. In studio, Alex Fisher, 17 News.
And here at home, our community mourning the loss of the victims in yesterday's mass shooting with a vigil in downtown Bakersfield, leaning on one another to try and make sense of this act of violence. 17's Olivia LaVoice joins us now with more from the vigil. Olivia.
Maddie, Orlando may be across the country, but judging from the tears poured out at last night's vigil, it still had a big impact here at home. Our local LGBT community came together along with others to support one another and amidst the sadness, to show strength and resilience.
It's for everyone who is supportive of the LGBT community. It's for anyone who is feeling what we feel in our hearts when fear strikes. We are Orlando.
An attack on one of us is an attack on everyone.
Their message is clear.
I want the family and friends in Orlando to know that we here in Bakersfield, California, have got their back.
Yesterday's mass shooting at a popular Orlando gay club has left many people here at home asking why.
We believe that it's not an attack on an LGBT specific group, it's an attack on America. When we're hurt, we come together.
And unfortunately, locals in the LGBTQ community say they do understand why these kind of things happen.
We live in a very conservative community that sort of prides itself on either ignoring or even lashing out at its local LGBT population. And so we understand, you know, the kind of community where there are those kind of fears.
By making a statement that this kind of violence is not to be tolerated, we are helping to prevent something like that from happening here in Bakersfield.
Even though we're not in Orlando and many of us don't even know anybody who was there, we all feel this fear of being targeted.
The only way to fight violence is with peace.
It's important for us to stand together as a community and to support each other spiritually and to get together as a group and say, you know, we're gonna survive this and we're gonna thrive as a community.
The Bakersfield Gay and Lesbian Community Center says they will continue to help those who need it, whether those people are here at home or across the country in Orlando.
17 newsmakers now, and joining us this morning here in studio, Whitney Waddell with the LGBTQ community. She's an activist to talk further about this mass shooting in Orlando. Whitney, good morning. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
The general sentiment, it seemed, from the local community here at last night's vigil was that there wasn't much surprise that an attack like this happened. Why?
Well, there are a variety of reasons for that. I mean, we're having mass shootings in America all the time these days, and the gay community has been a convenient scapegoat for the last 30, 40 years. Anytime there's something to point fingers at, we tend to be the butt of that.
Do you see this attack as being one that was directly targeted at the gay community, or was that club just an easy target as a mass popular place? Many people were gathered, tight confines for a terrorist attack.
We believe that this was a homophobic attack, and that in fact making it into more of an anti-Muslim terrorist thing is probably making more out of it than is necessary. There are stories around saying that he apparently observed 2 gay men kissing a couple of months ago, and that really made him angry. And both his father and his ex-wife said things to that effect, and so we believe that it was driven primarily by homophobia.
We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary here of the Supreme Court legalizing gay marriage in the United States. It was June 26, 2015. Do you feel like things have gotten any better since then? Have they gotten worse in the community? What's been the general response?
Well, things are definitely better. I mean, people are getting married and they have legal protections on their relationships. But there's been something of a backlash by people who are not particularly able to adjust to the fact that this world is changing and we are becoming more tolerant of things we disagree with.
What do you think the biggest challenges are that are still faced by the LGBTQ community?
Well, one is transgender people and how they are being treated and scapegoated as somehow being horribly dangerous. I really, after this shooting, I don't really want to hear that again, that somehow it's the gay people who we are in danger from. That's ridiculous. And the biggest challenge really is people who are intolerant. It's not that we particularly have problems that the world needs to deal with, but it does seem like people want to say that we present challenges that if we were just left to live and let live, those challenges really wouldn't exist.
Whitney, thanks so much for joining us. I know it's been a difficult couple of days for you and your entire community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kern County's gay and lesbian community also came together this evening to mourn and honor the victims killed there in Orlando. Eyewitness News reporter Jose Gaspar is here with local reaction. Jose?
Mimi, regardless of how far Orlando may be from Bakersfield, a tragedy such as this one hits very close to home for Kern County's gay and lesbian community. That's why this evening people gathered with thoughts and prayers for the victims. Gathering outside the Casablanca Club in downtown Bakersfield, people here joined others across the nation and the world, pausing Sunday evening to remember the 50 people killed and 53 injured in Orlando, Florida.
I was stunned, I was shocked, and I jumped on Facebook and I was reading every article I could, and I'm crying and I'm angry and I'm frustrated and I'm feeling helpless, and I didn't know what to do with all of those feelings.
Our community has suffered an incomprehensible blow.
So allies joined Kern County's LGBTQ community to gather and acknowledge the loss of life that happened in Orlando when a lone gunman shot and killed so many.
As you know, the LGBT community across the world in a way are very united. We has to be, because there is a threat on our lives all the time.
And it is that fear that supporters say can lead to fear. David Lawler is a high school teacher and the advisor to the Gay Straight Alliance Club at Golden Valley. He fears something like this can impact his students for the worse.
They believe what they hear sometimes on TV, and they're scared, and they want to know, is this now going to affect us, and will this happen here?
People held silence for 50 seconds in honor of the 50 victims killed in Orlando and heard words of comfort from local pastors and supporters. No one could pretend to make sense of what happened on the other side of the country, being felt here in Bakersfield.
And if people like this person thinks that will terrorize us, it won't. It won't. It's just going to make us want to live life to the fullest.
Reaction in other parts of the country to this tragedy have been similar to that here in Bakersfield, with people expressing outrage and sadness.
As tributes continue to pour in from around the world, including right here in Bakersfield. The LGBTQ community held a vigil at a downtown nightclub to mourn the lives of those lost in the terror attack. Organizers say they had the idea to hold a vigil at the Casablanca nightclub because they say it draws the same type of crowd that showed up at the club in Orlando. They also say they're happy to see the country come together and support each other in this time of need.
Even though you may not be of the same political stripe or the same political persuasion or even background, the fact that we can all get together to say this is something that we're not going to put up with anymore is empowering.
53 people were injured, 50 killed in the attack at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. It has been called one of the deadliest mass shootings in American history.